If you're playing a video game and it's too easy, you're not growing. You're not getting any better. You just go through. It's like, there's a guy there. Shoot, boom, boom, boom. You're not improving. If there's not resistance, you're not improving. I think it's that simple. But I also understand sometimes you want it to be easy if you've been riding the struggle bus. But I think future you will thank you for progressively increasing resistance over time.
Listen, if you aren't pushing yourself to the limit, you're not going to find out information that you need, and you're not going to have the necessity to actually improve and change. Innovation is on the other side of massive pain and frustration.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. Today, for episode number 1925, what if the only way to find the line is to go beyond it? I'll never forget, Alan and I were in the gym one day, and we were talking about running. This was back in the day where there wasn't that much to do. We were podcasting. We were entrepreneurs.
In comparison.
Yeah, but I mean, there really wasn't that much to do, all things considered. I mean, we were able to
anything, doesn't matter.
When I tell the story, it'll make sense. Like, yeah, no, it doesn't seem like you guys had a lot going on. We were probably an hour and a half.
No idea why we weren't successful.
No idea. I couldn't figure it out either. Now it makes sense, but at the time it didn't. We were probably like an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes into our workout, and we were talking about running for some reason. And you've heard us talk about this, but I think this is a really good example. And we were talking about a 6-minute mile. And I was like, I could definitely do a 6-minute mile for sure. Probably wouldn't even be that hard. I had no context, really. I didn't understand. And Alan's like, yeah, so let's go to the track and we'll do it. I was like, yeah, man, I got shit to do. Let's do it. And we set the timer, do a little warm up, a little stretching, and then we start the run. And I think
one of the very few times where you've been arrogant. One of the very few. That was arrogant as hell.
I was I was misinformed and overconfident, which I think is arrogant in a nutshell.
When you think you're better than you really are, it's arrogant.
Which I did, and the track don't care. The track didn't care.
Let's go man. Let's
I made it
happen.
What? Three,
yeah.
So I made it 3/4 of the way.
Almost
3/4 of the way.
The third lap. So it's 4 laps, and
yeah.
You made it through 3/4 of the third lap.
3/4 of the third lap. So like 2.75%.
Yeah, something like
that. 2.75. And then I just my body was just like, we're good. That's enough. We need to lay down now. And that was it. And I was very, very, very humbled by that. But I found my limit. I found my limit by trying to do that. Sometimes I think the only way to find the limit, to find the boundary, to find what you're capable of is to go right up to the line, if not cross it. I remember when I was young, I had a rat tail. Shout out to all of those youngins who had a rat tail, or adults if you still rocking a rat tail.
What was that? Was that a Jedi thing?
Excuse me?
Jedis have Phantom Menace, the first Star Wars movie.
Never seen it.
I know.
No, that was.
They have rat tails, so maybe
I have
that's
no
why?
idea. No. It was just because I thought it was cool.
Yeah, but maybe you thought it was cool because you saw someone else who thought it was cool who saw Star Wars.
Maybe.
Have you noticed a trend, real quick? Have you noticed the trend with the youngins, the younglings, with Crocs these days?
Crocs in the gym? Yeah, somebody calls the young kids at the gym broccoli heads because everybody has giant curly hair now. I don't know where it all came from.
They're bringing the mullet back for some reason with
Mullets,
curly hair.
Yeah, it's coming back.
Why? Crocs and mullets and big curly hair. Yeah, that's been interesting.
If you're confident enough to rock a mullet, I support
no,
it.
you do.
I'm
with it.
Don't wear Crocs to the gym though. You drop a weight on that. You drop a weight on your foot. I mean, you're already jeffed, but you're extra jeffed.
It's not just that. There's just very little utility in wearing Crocs to the gym. I have sneakers that are. I actually can tell when these sneakers are on their way out. This struggle bus. I'm doing the sled and such. You can't do that in Crocs. You can't get after it in Crocs.
Well, I mean, you can do heavy bench and you can do a lot in Crocs. Son.
Legs.
You can do legs in Crocs. Yeah. What's the difference between doing legs in Crocs and legs bare? I don't. Taryn bought me these really nice squat shoes for my birthday. No.
That's awesome.
Has it been 4 months already? Yeah, I think she bought them for my birthday. It's amazing. My leg days have been so much better because of those.
Nice.
Let me get back to the point. Oh, so when I was young, I swore at my mom. And she said, swear at me again, I'm going to cut your rat tail off. And I said, you're not going to do shit. And she cut my rat tail off. It was devastating. I put it in a bag because I was like, maybe if I like hold it close to my head, it'll grow back. Didn't. But I found the line.
It's kind of messed up.
It was kind of messed up. She also put soap in my mouth one time because I swore at her. And she said, do it again. She always gave me an opportunity not to make it happen. She said, do it again, I'm going to put soap in your mouth. You wouldn't dare. Dish soap does not taste good. It wasn't a bar soap. It was dish soap. And again, I deserved it because I was a little arsehole.
I don't know, man.
I deserved
I don't know.
it. I was asking.
Little conscious parenting could have been done.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, all things considered, but I did ask for it. But I think
times.
that's a funny example that sometimes the only way to find the line is to go past it, and then when you do it. But you have an example that is maybe more appropriate / specific for the audience, but I wanted to open with that.
Well, a couple good things happen when you red line, find the line, go past the line. And I'm not saying I don't think going past the line in a reckless way is intelligent. So I'm not saying to drink and drive or anything like that. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about finding your potential. And so I think the running is a good example. And so Kev was like, yeah, let's go. Let's do it. 6-minute mile, no problem. And I'm like,
Done.
dude, no chance. Let's do it. Let's see how it goes. And he collapsed three quarters through the third lap. And I was hammering with all I had. And I got a 6:17. I'll never forget it. Because I was trying my best to get 6, and I just could not do it. And insert excuse here, it was cold. We had already worked out for an hour and 45 minutes. Whatever. It's but here's the benefits of finding the line, passing the line. New perspective. Okay, so Kev will never get cocky with running again.
No, quite the opposite.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so and then the other thing is now you appreciate runners at a different level. I was reading yesterday The Art of Thinking Clearly. We do that book in book club, and it's talking about anchors. And I was talking to Kev recently, 2 episodes ago or something like that, where I said, if I say a 600-pound deadlift, I remember we interviewed someone who did a 600-pound deadlift, and we had to really provide context to anyone who doesn't deadlift of like how bad that would kill you if you tried to do that. And anchors are one of those things where, so Kevin and I looked this up because I've been talking a lot about the interview with Mark Randolph and Netflix, and we looked up Reed Hastings, one of the co-founders of Netflix, and he only owns 2% of the company. That's an anchor for you now. That's a new data point where now you understand, oh, okay, so a lot of companies don't retain equity, blah, blah, blah. My point of all this is that when you redline, when you cross the line, when you push your limits, you find out information you never would have had. You get new perspective you never would have had. And I think this is one of the reasons why most of us have to learn our lessons the hard way. I'm all for reading. I'm all for learning. I'm all for listening to this podcast, and I'm all for studying and trying to understand things in advance. I'm all from learning from accumulated wisdom. I don't think you have to learn. I don't think you have to get hit by a car to learn to look both ways, metaphorically. However, in business, in success, in dream chasing, in hitting your goals and reaching your potential, if you pull back long before the pain, you're not going to transform as much. Last piece of this. They've done studies where they found that there's something called a myelin sheath that is wrapped around the neurons in your brain. And when you're a child, the myelin sheath grows very quickly. You can create new synapses, new connections, and the myelin sheath, there's a lot of myelin when you're a kid. That's why kids can learn so many languages so quickly. They're like sponges. They can absorb a lot. So you can't teach an old dog new tricks is a neuroscientific falsity. You can. It's just way harder. And in the neuroscience, if you study this, you can only teach. A lot of us out there really think about this. Do you ever wonder why it's so fucking hard to change? You and I, you're 35, I'm 36. Dude, it's so hard to change.
I think it depends on what it is. Like, what do you mean? What specifically?
Okay. What's one thing you really struggle with? You really just have a fucking
doing
hard
the
time.
dishes every night.
Okay, boom. All right. I don't know if that's going to work. Do you do them every night anyway?
No.
Okay. All right, perfect. Okay, why the fuck don't you do that? Dude, it's not that hard to do the dishes. There are other people out there listening going, get it together, Kev. That's fucking
100%. Here's the truth. The truth is it's not as important as some of the other stuff I do. That's
exactly. Fair.
The necessity is not, the company's not going to fail because I don't do the dishes. My relationship's not going to fail. Now, if I don't do them for a month, the necessity,
you don't
is
do it
just
for a month here.
my relationship might be in
definitely
trouble.
gonna fail. Yeah.
It's not.
Exactly.
It's not.
There's not enough pain.
Yeah,
There's not enough pain associated with not doing it. That's what necessity is. And everyone out there, I coach the team and 28 clients of 37 individuals. And the reason I'm saying this is because I want you to know I've got behind the scenes, behind the curtain of all these different people from all over the world. Every single one of them, I promise you, every single one of them absolutely struggles in at least one area. They can't do this thing to save their goddamn life. Like everyone, myself, Emilia, everyone. Here's the deal. There's no one who's good at everything. So my point of all this is pain is the only way human beings really change. That's why you changed after 26 suicidal ideation. That's why I transformed so much after my car accident, because of massive pain and suffering. And if you don't redline, you won't actually change. Kevin and I just talked about a bunch of changes I'm going to make in 2025. Dude, one of the reasons those changes are going to happen is because it finally got to the point where I just can't survive operating the way I'm operating right now.
Yeah.
And I just think there's something to be said for no pain, no gain. I'm not saying it in the toxic way most people say it. I'm saying it from a neuroscientific lens of, listen, if you aren't pushing yourself to the limit, you're not going to find out information that you need, and you're not going to have the necessity to actually improve and change. Innovation is on the other side of massive pain and frustration. NLU listener, what is happening? I just wanted to jump in here and let you know, if you want to get to the next level faster, we have a free virtual monthly meetup at the first Thursday of every month. You can connect with like-minded people and become a bigger part of this amazing global community. The link to register will be in the show notes.
The other hard thing to conceptualize is you don't really know when you're not doing enough, because the feedback is non-existent until eventually you realize you're not doing enough. It's not a good. There's not a good reaction. There's not a good reminder. But when you're doing quote unquote too much, you get the reminder almost immediately. But it adjusts what you know you're capable of.
What's an example?
I was hoping you weren't going to say that. Honestly.
It's not an easy concept to explain.
Exercise. Exercise is a great example. If you're not exercising right now, you almost have zero feedback that that's not good for you.
I know.
Oh, you have almost zero. But if you just, I'm going to go to the gym 7 days a week for 3 hours, you're going to burn out and you're going to say, well, that was way too much. It just helps you level set better. It just helps you level set because you actually get some level of input. When you do nothing, you get no input. When you do too much, you get too much. Yes. No output. No feedback. Yeah. When you do nothing, you get no feedback. When you do too much, you get too much feedback. But too much feedback creates a new opportunity for a new behavior when no feedback doesn't. It's that weird. That I hear people say all the time, here's how you avoid burnout. And I agree. You don't want to be burnt out for long periods of time. I'm with that. I agree with that. You don't want your entire life to be burnout. I agree with that. But if you've never experienced it, you don't know what you're truly capable of. And if you don't know what you're truly capable of, you don't know what 50% is. You don't know what 60% is. You don't know what 70%. That's I think what is important to understand. The only way to create an understanding and a perspective is to know the high and the low. And if the low is nothing, you have to know what the high is in order to shoot somewhere in between. I think that's probably the best way I could explain it.
So if you're avoiding failure and frustration, you're also avoiding pushing yourself to where you're going to learn.
Yeah, you're avoiding self-awareness. If a car goes 150 miles an hour, if a car is capable of going 0 miles an hour, and I said, I want you to drive at 50% of the max speed, what do? You don't know. Unless you know what the max speed is. You don't know what 50% is if you don't have the max. You don't know. When I go to the gym, what's my max squat? I need to know that if I'm going to do the percentages. Well, today I'm going to do 70. You go, there's a couple ways to do it.
You go near the line and risk
You go
injury.
near the line. You can do that. Bodybuilding and weightlifting is a little bit different because you can do, there's calculators out there, right? I did 315 pounds for 6 reps. Put it in an algorithm, it'll say your squat max is probably 365 pounds or something. You can do that.
Plus or minus 10% or whatever.
Yeah. But in life, I think the only way to do it is to go get closer and closer and closer. And then you realize, oh, I'll use the egg sandwich analogy. You want to make an egg sandwich. For those out there didn't know this. So what you do, take 2 slices of bread. Boom. You want to punch down the bread inside. Don't mess up the crust. You crack an egg in one, crack an egg in the other, and throw that bad Larry right in the air fryer. You got an egg Sammy. Throw some cheese on that. Whew. Bam. Avocado. That's the question.
For what degrees?
That's also the second question.
And it depends on the air fryer.
It depends on the air fryer.
So
there's 2 things you do. You say 2 minutes should be good. It ain't. 2 minutes not enough. You throw it in for 2 minutes, it comes out raw. As Gordon Ramsay would say, it's fucking raw. You don't want that. Don't eat raw eggs, probably not good. You put it in there for 25 minutes, that thing's on fire. And you're going to have a local emergency in your kitchen. But if you burn it, you know that's too much for too long, and you don't do it the same. It's the recipe. But in order to know the recipe, you have to know what's too much and what's too little.
And if you have a negative relationship with frustration and failure, you're going to pump the brakes long before you get most of the lessons.
Correct.
Most of the things that we've improved at NLU or about ourselves, or I vented to Kev for at least a half an hour today about all the shit I'm messing up. And I'm not a mess up. I'm not any less dialed in than anyone you know. I'm not the worst. It's not about me. Here's the level we're at now. Here's the level we're trying to get to. In 2025, I'm going to have to make some serious changes if I don't want to keep messing up in the same way over and over and over and over again. And the only way to improve, Emilia and I were talking yesterday about something called the aggregation of marginal gains. And we went through the entirety of 2024. Last night, we spent an hour and a half together, and then we went for a 45-minute walk. And the whole thing was us by the fire with the fur babies, eating food, talking about 2024. Everything new, everything we did, everything we didn't do, everything we want to do, everything that changed, everything that was within the year. It's like, wait, no, that was 2023. Okay, the road trip was in 2024. Okay, what did we... Okay, remember I used to have the Mazda?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we didn't... Everything. And when you unpack a whole year, it's... Holy shit, we've accomplished so much. But here's the truth. All along the year, it felt like an uphill climb. It felt like we were failing, and it felt like frustration, and it felt like challenges. But when you look back, it's holy shit. I can't believe we used to open and close our own blinds. Now we have these automatic blind openers that are solar panel, and we can talk to Alexa and close and open the blinds.
A strange
I
world.
used to wake up every day and open the blinds every morning. Now it just happens.
Now, for those out there who still open and close their own blinds, I feel you. I do the same thing. Alan loves automation, so I just want to put it on.
Big on tech.
I'm with you. I'm not there yet.
Emilia has a client who said, "Hey Alexa, throw the lights on to 60%," and they went. It's like, oh my god, I need it. Smart homes. But that's just one of them. We have hundreds, if not 1,000, improvements that we've made. However, what I really need to make as clear as humanly possible is the majority of the year it felt like an uphill battle. And I think that's the duality. If you feel like you're winning and you're coasting and everything's going well, you're probably not pushing yourself enough. If you feel like all you're ever doing is failing, you're probably pushing yourself too much. But if you're in that sweet spot of, okay, I'm a little frustrated. Like I can do it. I got this. But goddamn, this kind of sucks. But I got this. I think you're in the learning zone. You're gonna be proud of yourself. Your future self's gonna thank you. I've been redlining lately. I've never coached 37 people before. And I want to be capable of more, and I want to do it in high quantity and high quality. And I've learned so much in 2024. Alan in 2023 knew so much less, understood so much less, was so much less capable, was so much worse than Alan now. And I'm excited. I'm excited for 2025.
I am also. We'll do an episode as we get closer to 2025. I think this is dropping Monday, so yeah, we have another week before 2025 is here. We'll do an episode on how to jumpstart 2025 or something like that. I went to the gym yesterday. This is the last thing, and then we'll get out of here. I went to the gym yesterday, and I did shoulders, and I was talking to one of my buddies at the gym, and I said, you ever have one of those days you just come in and everything feels light? And he said, yeah, of course. Of course, we have also been on the other end where you come in and everything feels heavy.
It's the worst.
The days you come in where everything feels light, that's when you push it. Yesterday I did heavier weight. It's like, let me see. I feel good. Let me see what happens. Because I'm not going to be growing if I'm not encountering resistance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the fact that people say if it's not easy, it's not for you, or it should be easy, or whatever it is. I think certain things get easier in time, and then if you want to continue growing in that thing, then you add resistance. I think that's kind of how it works. If you want to improve, like podcasting is easy. It's not that hard anymore. But there are ways to make it harder so I can grow more. Don't say Don't say filler words. Tell better stories. Make sure we get off on time. There's a million improvements, but those improvements make it harder when it gets easy. And I think that's an important thing. If it gets too easy, make it harder. If you're playing a video game and it's too easy, you're not growing. You're not getting any better. You just go through. It's like, there's a guy there. Shoot. Boom, boom. You're not improving. If there's not resistance, you're not improving. I think it's that simple. But I also understand sometimes you want it to be easy if you've been riding the struggle bus, but I think future you will thank you for progressively increasing resistance over time.
Nice.
You dig?
Very much. Great episode.
All right. You're a
Important
great episode.
principle.
You're a purpose. You're a porpoise principle. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We'll talk to you all tomorrow.
Keep after it. Next Level Nation.